Born into a world that seemed full of promise, the puppy's life took a turn when it was abandoned on the outskirts of a busy city. At first, the puppy didn't understand what had happened. It roamed the streets, searching for the warmth of its mother and the comfort of its littermates. But all it found was cold pavement, harsh winds, and strangers who barely noticed its existence. In a bustling city, amidst the constant noise and movement, a small, scruffy puppy wandered the streets. Its once shiny fur was matted, and its tiny body shivered from the cold. The streets were a dangerous place. The puppy had to dodge rushing cars that honked loudly as they passed, terrifying it. Packs of older, street-smart dogs chased the little one away from their territory, leaving it to wander into unfamiliar neighborhoods. Even the weather seemed against it. Rain soaked its fur, and the cold nights left it shivering uncontrollably, searching for shelter in alleyways or beneath park benches. Though some passers-by threw scraps of food or a sympathetic glance, most were too busy with their own lives to stop and help. The puppy often felt invisible, its small cries drowned out by the noise of the city. Its spirit, once curious and full of energy, began to wane as the harshness of its reality became clear. Hunger became a constant companion. The puppy scavenged through trash bins, competing with crows and rats for scraps of food. Often, it went days without eating, its small body growing weaker with each passing day. Its once soft fur became dirty and tangled, and its ribs started to show. Abandoned and alone, the puppy scrounged for scraps of food, dodged cars, and sought shelter under park benches. Every day was a battle for survival, and the loneliness weighed heavily on its little heart. Though some passers-by threw scraps of food or a sympathetic glance, most were too busy with their own lives to stop and help. The puppy often felt invisible, its small cries drowned out by the noise of the city. Its spirit, once curious and full of energy, began to wane as the harshness of its reality became clear. Loneliness was perhaps the greatest struggle of all. The puppy longed for a warm touch, a kind voice, or someone to care. Without a family to belong to, the world felt vast and unkind. Yet, despite everything, there was a tiny spark of hope within the puppy, a resilience that pushed it to keep moving, keep searching, and keep dreaming of a better life. After weeks of surviving alone on the streets, the puppy had grown accustomed to disappointment. Every day felt like an endless cycle of searching for food, shelter, and safety. Yet, even in its weariness, the puppy never completely gave up hope. Somewhere deep inside, it believed that kindness still existed. One afternoon, the puppy wandered into a small park on the edge of the city. It was a rare, quiet spot with patches of grass and a few trees that offered shade from the glaring sun. Children laughed and played nearby, their joy a stark contrast to the puppy's struggles. Drawn by the sounds and the faint smell of food, the puppy timidly approached a picnic table where a family was seated. At first, the puppy hesitated, staying at a distance. It had learned the hard way that not all humans were kind. But hunger overcame fear, and with cautious steps, it moved closer, its big, hopeful eyes fixed on the crumbs falling to the ground. A little boy from the family noticed the puppy and pointed excitedly. "Look, a puppy!" he exclaimed, his voice filled with wonder. The family turned to see the scruffy little dog standing just a few feet away, tail tucked between its legs but wagging ever so slightly. The boy's mother smiled softly and reached into their picnic basket. She tore off a piece of bread and gently tossed it toward the puppy. Startled at first, the puppy froze, unsure whether it was safe to approach. But the aroma of the bread was too tempting, and after a moment's hesitation, it darted forward to grab the morsel. Encouraged by this small act of kindness, the puppy lingered near the family, watching them with hopeful eyes. The boy wanted to take the puppy home, but his parents explained they couldn't adopt a dog. Instead, they left behind a small pile of food and a bowl of water. before packing up their picnic. For the first time in days, the puppy's belly was full and its thirst quenched. As the family walked away, the little boy turned back and waved. "Goodbye, puppy. I hope someone takes you home." Though the interaction was brief, it left a lasting impression on the puppy. It had experienced a rare moment of care and compassion, a glimmer of hope that reminded it that not all humans were indifferent or cruel. That evening, as the puppy curled up under a park bench, it felt a tiny flicker of warmth in its heart. It didn't have a home yet, but for the first time in a long while, it dared to dream that one might be waiting just around the corner. Little did it know, this small encounter was only the beginning of a journey that would lead to a life full of love and belonging. One fateful evening, as dark clouds rolled in and the first drops of rain began to fall, the puppy found itself wandering the edge of a quiet neighborhood. The streets were deserted, and the sharp chill in the air hinted at a storm brewing. With its tiny body already drenched, the puppy sought refuge, scurrying beneath a parked car, but the cold pavement offered little comfort, and the rumble of thunder made the puppy shiver in fear. As the rain intensified, the puppy's whimpers grew louder. Hidden beneath the car, it felt utterly helpless, its hope dwindling with each clap of thunder. Just as it was about to give up, a soft voice broke through the storm. People passed by, too busy to notice the trembling creature, but then a young girl named Mia spotted the puppy. Soaked from head to paw, the puppy's big, pleading eyes met Mia's gaze. She couldn't ignore it. "Is someone there?" a young girl's voice called out, barely audible over the pounding rain. The puppy didn't understand the words, but sensed the gentleness in her tone. Peeking out cautiously, it saw a girl with an umbrella, her eyes scanning the street. She was no older than 10, with a bright pink raincoat and an expression of concern. "There you are," she exclaimed when her eyes met the puppy's. Kneeling on the wet ground, she reached out her hand. "Don't be scared. I won't hurt you." The puppy hesitated, unsure whether to trust her. It had learned to be wary of humans, but something about her felt different. Her hand remained steady, and her voice was soothing. Slowly, the puppy crept out from under the car, its wet fur clinging to its tiny frame. "Oh, you're so small," the girl said, her heart breaking at the sight. Without a second thought, she slipped off her scarf and wrapped it around the shivering puppy. "You must be freezing. Let's get you warm." The girl, whose name was Mia, cradled the puppy in her arms and hurried back to her house. The warmth of her embrace was unlike anything the puppy had felt before. It whimpered softly, not out of fear, but from a strange new feeling: comfort. When Mia burst through the front door, her mother looked up in surprise. "Mia, what's that?" she asked, gesturing to the bundle in her arms. "What's a puppy, Mama?" Mia replied, her voice filled with urgency. "I found him outside in the rain. We can't leave him out there." Mia's mother approached, her initial hesitation melting away as she saw the pitiful state of the little dog. "Poor thing," she murmured, reaching out to touch the puppy gently. "All right, let's get him cleaned up." They dried the puppy with warm towels and gave it a small bowl of milk. At first, the puppy was wary, glancing between Mia and her mother, but as it lapped up the milk and felt the warmth of their home, a sense of safety began to wash over it. That night, Mia placed the puppy in a soft basket with an old blanket. "You're safe now," she whispered, stroking its head. The puppy, exhausted but content, curled up and closed its eyes. For the first time in its short, difficult life, the puppy felt truly cared for. The storm outside raged on, but inside, it was warm, safe, and loved. This moment marked a turning point, the beginning of a new chapter where the puppy's life would be filled with compassion, trust, and belonging. Unbeknownst to the puppy, It had just found the family it had been searching for all along. And in turn, Mia and her family had discovered a new source of love and joy that would forever change their lives. "Mama, we can't leave him out here," Mia pleaded with her mother, who was hesitant at first. But seeing the desperation in both her daughter's and the puppy's eyes, she relented. They wrapped the shivering puppy in a warm towel and brought it home. In the days that followed, the puppy settled into Mia's home, though it remained cautious. Despite the warmth, food, and care it received, there was a part of the puppy that still recoiled from human touch. The little creature had learned, in its brief time on the streets, that the world could be unkind. People hadn't always been gentle or forgiving. But here, in the safety of this home, there was a chance for something different. Something better. Yet the puppy wasn't sure how to let go of the fear that had been its constant companion. At first, the puppy was scared and uncertain. It flinched at sudden movements and refused to eat. Mia understood. She could see that the puppy, although warm and fed, still had an edge of hesitation in its eyes. When Mia knelt down to offer her hand, the puppy would pull back, still unsure whether it was safe to approach. It was as if the puppy's heart had been bruised too many times, and it didn't yet know how to trust again. But Mia was patient. Determined to help, Mia took things slow. Every morning she would sit on the floor near the puppy's bed and talk to it softly. She would tell the puppy about her day, about the fun things they could do together. But she made sure to never force herself on the little creature. She just let the puppy get used to her presence, never rushing or pushing it. At first, the puppy would only glance at Mia from the corner of the room, its body tense and wary. But over time, Mia noticed small changes. The puppy no longer darted to the farthest corner when she entered the room. It would lift its head when she spoke, ears perking up at the sound of her voice. One day, as Mia sat by the puppy's bed, she noticed it watching her more closely than before. Encouraged, she held out a small treat, her hand held low to the ground, palm open. The puppy eyed it from a distance, then sniffed the air, its nose twitching. Slowly, it took a hesitant step forward. Mia held her breath, her heart racing with excitement. The puppy's small, trembling paw reached out, and in one swift motion, it grabbed the treat. Mia smiled gently, not wanting to startle it with too much enthusiasm. She let the puppy savor the treat in peace, not pushing any further. The next day, the puppy approached Mia a little more confidently. It lingered near her, its tail wagging softly, still cautious but curious. Mia, understanding the importance of taking things slowly, simply continued to be there for the puppy, offering quiet affection when the moment felt right. One afternoon, as the sun streamed in through the window, Mia sat on the couch reading a book. The puppy, now more comfortable in its new environment, padded over to her and sat down beside her, just a few feet away. Mia smiled, not wanting to scare it off, and continued to read. The puppy, after a few minutes, moved closer, its little body relaxed, and without a sound, it gently rested its head on Mia's lap. The next town she passed through was Barton Sturgis's round. This was the breakthrough moment. The puppy had made a choice. It had decided, in its own time, that Mia was safe. She wasn't like the cold world outside, and the love and care she showed were real. The puppy had begun to trust her, little by little, without being forced or rushed. From that point forward, trust grew steadily. The puppy would follow Mia around the house, its small tail wagging with excitement whenever she entered the room. It would jump up and nudge her hand, asking for pets, and would even curl up beside her on the couch, knowing that no harm would come to it. Each new gesture of trust was met with love and praise, reinforcing the bond that was forming between them. It was clear that the puppy had found a sense of security in Mia's love, but more than that, it had rediscovered the meaning of companionship. The trauma it had carried from the streets began to fade as it learned to live in the moment, surrounded by people who truly cared. The journey of building trust was not instantaneous, but through patience and consistent kindness, the puppy found the safety it had long been searching for. With every tender touch, every shared moment of joy, the puppy's heart slowly healed. Trust, like a fragile thread, was carefully woven into a relationship that would last a lifetime. And Mia, in turn, learned that sometimes the greatest rewards come from the slow, steady process of building something real, something worth waiting for. She sat beside the puppy, speaking softly and offering treats. Day by day, the puppy began to trust her. It wagged its tail for the first time when Mia gently scratched behind its ears. As the days turned into weeks, the puppy's transformation was nothing short of miraculous. The once fearful, timid creature, who had spent its early days scavenging the streets and hiding from the world, was slowly becoming a confident and joyful companion. The safety and love of Mia and her family had worked wonders, and the puppy was no longer the same dog it had been when it was found in the storm. The house, once a place of uncertainty, now felt like home. The puppy's bed by the fireplace had become its sanctuary, a place where it could curl up and sleep soundly without fear. The puppy's once wary eyes now shone with curiosity and affection, and its tail wagged with happiness as it raced through the house, chasing after toys or playing with Mia. But the transformation wasn't just physical. The puppy had found a place in the hearts of Mia's family. Mia's parents, who had initially been unsure about taking in a stray, now doted on the puppy with the same love and care they showed Mia. The father, who had been reluctant to have a pet, would often be found on the couch with the puppy curled up beside him, a look of contentment on both of their faces. Mia's mother, who had spent hours nursing the puppy back to health in its early days, watched with a heart full of pride as the puppy blossomed into a happy, well-adjusted dog. The puppy had also become a steadfast companion to Mia. The bond between them was undeniable. Every morning, Mia would greet the puppy with a smile, and the puppy would respond with an enthusiastic wag of its tail. They went on walks together, with the puppy trotting happily by her side, sniffing the world around it and reveling in the simple joy of companionship. Every evening, Mia would sit by the window, and the puppy would curl up at her feet, content to be in her presence. One of the most special moments came when Mia's family decided to make the puppy's place in their home official. They went to the vet to have it checked over and officially registered. The family decided to name the puppy Lucky, and he truly lived up to his name. As the vet handed Mia the papers that confirmed the puppy's name and the fact that it was now a permanent member of their family, Mia's eyes filled with tears. "I, in Santu Mama Karo Mituma." "This is it, little one," Mia whispered, holding the puppy close. "You're home. You're really home." It was a simple statement, but in that moment, it carried the weight of everything the puppy had been through. Its struggles, its fears, its hopes, and everything it had found in Mia's family: safety, love, and belonging. From that point on, the puppy knew that it had a forever home. There would be no more cold nights spent alone in the dark, no more wandering the streets in search of a place to sleep. The puppy was part of something now, something stable, something full of love. The family had become its pack, and the puppy had become their beloved companion, filling their hearts with joy, laughter, and warmth. There were many moments that reinforced this sense of belonging. The quiet afternoons spent lying on the porch, the playful games in the backyard, the holidays spent curled up together as a family. The puppy had become an inseparable part of the household. With proper care, Lucky's health improved and his personality blossomed. He became a playful, loving companion who brought laughter and joy to the household. Lucky wasn't just a pet, he was a symbol of hope and resilience. As the years passed, the bond between Mia and the puppy only deepened. The puppy, now full grown, had become a loyal, loving friend, And Mia, who had saved the puppy on that stormy day, had learned just as much from the experience as the puppy had. She had learned the value of kindness, the importance of patience, and the unconditional love that comes with opening your heart to someone in need. The puppy had found a family that would never leave it, and in return, the puppy gave the family something priceless: its love, loyalty, and the reminder that sometimes the greatest gifts come when you least expect them. The puppy's forever home wasn't just a place. It was a family that loved it as their own. A family that promised never to let go. With proper care, Lucky's health improved and his personality blossomed. He became a playful, loving companion who brought laughter and joy to the household. Lucky wasn't just a pet, he was a symbol of hope and resilience. Mia would often say that finding Lucky changed her life as much as it changed his. In loving and saving Lucky, Mia learned compassion, responsibility, and the joy of giving a second chance. Lucky had finally found his forever home and a family who loved him unconditionally.